touchdown.
We need to be able to execute the fundamentals on offense, defense, and special teams.
They're going to run a fake, and Rutgers is not fooled. It's blocked. They've done it again.
And then do it over and over and over again.
They're coming. It's blocked.
Because the team that does it better is usually the team that wins.
Live from Quaker Steak and Lube on US 1 in Edison, this is the Kyle Flood Show. Your chance to talk with the head coach of the Scarlet Knights. The Kyle Flood Show is also brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world, and by Pepsi. Live in the moment. The beat starts at Pepsi.com. Pepsi, live for now. To be part of the show, call 855-FLOOD-44. That's 855-356-6344. Now, let's go live to Quaker Steak and Lube in Edison. Here's the voice of the Scarlet Knights, Chris Carlin.
Welcome inside Quaker Steak and Lube here in Edison, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Mark Malus is filling in for the voice of the Scarlet Knights, Chris Carlin, Eric LeGrand, Rutgers head coach Kyle Flood. You can hit us up via Twitter as well, at Rutgers Radio. Number to call, 855-356-855-3-FLOOD-44, 356-6344. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Mark. I appreciate you being here, filling in for
pleasure.
Chris. Big night for the Mets.
Yes.
As well as our radio show here, so we understand why Chris can't be here. But it's great to have you here. And it's an exciting week for our program.
No question. No doubt about that. Certainly Ohio State will get into that, Coach, and everything that it's going to be great this weekend as the number one team in the country comes to Piscataway, New Jersey. Let's look back first. I mean, an unbelievable comeback victory against Indiana. When that one went final, Coach, what were some of the things that were running through your mind?
It's hard to describe, although I did see a replay where at one point I was smiling as I looked at the field. So I know that it felt good, and I couldn't be more proud of the team, how hard they fought. I thought we played well in the first half to get a lead right before the half. Didn't execute very well in the third quarter, that's for sure, but we're tough enough mentally to continue to play, to continue to learn through the game, and ultimately come out on top. And it was a tremendous effort by the team. Somebody told me, I guess, the second time that has happened in the last 8 games, and it's certainly not a situation we're trying to create.
Right.
But it is good to know that when those situations arise, that you've got a team that's tough enough to overcome them.
Yeah, Coach, can you talk a little bit about how it only really takes 5, 6, 7 big plays of a game that make a swing like that? You go down by 25, but then all of a sudden 5, 6 plays, and boom, you see the results.
There's no question. And I was telling somebody else today, look no further than, the last play of the third quarter is a touchdown to Carew. Mm-hmm. Very early in the fourth quarter is a 3-and-out, and the special teams touchdown off the muff punt by them. And that's quick 14. That's quick 2 touchdowns. Yeah. It wasn't 14, but it's quick 2 touchdowns. And that kind of jump-started us and gave us an opportunity to continue to stay in the game.
But I think you hit upon it, Coach. The other thing is that the team fights. I mean, continues to fight. Because you can go all across the country. I mean, there are a lot of teams, and, they fall behind that kind of margin on the road. Homecoming for Indiana. The Hoosiers rolling right along that, might basically say tuck it in, get ready for, mentally. But your team continued to fight. Shows you a lot of character about your team.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally believe that, and then especially by the defense. The defense gives up 4 touchdowns in the third quarter and then throws a shutout in the fourth quarter. Just a tremendous job by them of finishing the game. And I know this was on they showed a video from the locker room, but this is what I said to the team before we played the game. I wanted to start fast. I thought we did. I wanted them to stay together because I knew it was going to be a hostile environment. It's one of the better environments of the year in Bloomington for homecoming. It was a great environment for college football out there. And then we had to finish, and that was really Gary Brackett's message to the team the night before. Gary gave the team a great talk. It was the second time since I've been the head coach that Gary's spoken to the team before a game.
Okay.
Just in case anybody's keeping score, Gary's 2-0 right now because Gary spoke to the team before the 2012 Cincinnati game that we won 10-3. So Gary has won a low-scoring game, and he's won a shootout, so he seems to be good for all occasions. But his message was about finishing Yeah, I thought it was a great message to the team, and certainly one that we needed on Saturday.
How hard is it as a coach to talk with the coaching staff and make adjustments when they score 4 touchdowns coming out of halftime, and then you have to make adjustments to pitch a shutout in the fourth quarter?
It's not tough for me to talk to the team, but I do think it's tough for the players that are in that situation to just continue to focus on the next play and the next drive. And you know, that's how a game works. In football, everything is drive to drive. You go out there, you play a series, successful, not successful, you come back, you're on the bench, you make the adjustments, you go back out, you play another drive. You know, and the mental toughness to be able to do that in a game where things aren't going your way the way it happened in the third quarter, I think it really speaks to the young people we have on the team.
Coach, when you look back on the game film, and there's a lot to take in. I mean, a lot of offense. You have 107 points combined between the two teams. Is there a moment, is there a play that you thought that swung momentum that allowed your team to take advantage of in that second half?
I really thought it was the combination of the two plays, the Leonte Carew touchdown and then the Kamoko Toure touchdown, because they happened so quickly. It was an immediate point swing in a game where we needed one. And the reality is, had we just played football with drives going back and forth on the field, I don't know if we would have had enough time to have enough drives.
You needed some quick strike scores.
Yeah, we needed some quick scores, and we got 2 of them right at the end of the third quarter, the beginning of the fourth quarter. I think that was really the tipping point in the game for us that put us back in it.
The Chaffee interception, too.
Absolutely.
Sudfeld started to, press a little bit. When he started to see momentum swinging Rutgers' way, you saw him start to press. I thought the Chaffee interception was a big moment, too.
I agree. I totally agree. You know, and the Isaiah Wharton interception and the Chaffee interception really happened on consecutive plays.
Yeah.
You know, so, you're playing against a team that going into the game was number 1 in the conference in turnover margin, number 1 in the conference in forced fumbles. And at the end of the game, we win the turnover battle 3-1. I mean, that as much as anything is how you have an opportunity to win that game.
Does it ever come to you as a coach where you talk to your offense and you say that, we're going to have to score a lot of points this game because the team, with the way that they run their offense, they're putting up a lot of points. Do you ever talk to the offense about that?
Absolutely. And it's something I spoke not so much with the players because I don't want them thinking in those terms, but in terms of how you call the game, I thought it was important that when we got into that second half, the offensive staff knew, like, hey, listen, this is one of those games. You know, sometimes you got to win a pitcher's duel. Sometimes you got to win a shootout. And I just had a feeling we were going to need some points to win that game, and we did.
855-356-6344, the number to call. Coach, let's head out to Mike from Cedar Grove. First up here on the Kyle Flood Show. What's going on, Mike?
How you doing, Mike?
Hey, guys. Coach, that was a heck of an ending to that game. Almost as exciting as the Maryland comeback last year.
Which one did you like better?
Coach, I have a question. You know what? I guess the one that we just had because it's fresher in my memory.
I agree.
Coach, I have a question about the very end. I mean, it was a thing of beauty, time management. Was there thought amongst you and your coaching staff on the third down with about 18 seconds left of kicking a field goal at that point? Should there be a botched snap and hold? Would the rule allow you to kick again?
No, it's not. And those are discussions that we have really in the offseason and preseason, and they're important discussions to have because it's an option, right? You have that option, but that is a team that we practice every day, and the operation from the snapper to the holder to the kicker is something we have a lot of confidence in, and we felt that for us, we wanted to end the game with a game-winning field goal, and we didn't want to give them an opportunity to return a kick or run an offensive play. And we were able to do that. So that was the decision we made. We felt good about it.
Mike, thanks a lot for the call. And, obviously when you have a comeback of that nature in the second half, you have to have great, obviously, individual performances. It's the team success, certainly. Leonte Carew, it's amazing what he can do for an offense, certainly. And there have been talented wide receivers in Piscataway, Brandon Coleman, who's now a member of the Saints, Kenny Britt. Where do you put Leonte in terms of playmakers that have set foot on, and put on that Scarlet Knight uniform?
Yeah, I've been fortunate that I've been here for so many of them. When I first got here, a guy like Sean Tucker, who got hurt his senior year, unfortunately, but was a really, really fine player in 05 for us. And then to the time where you had Kenny Britt and Tyquan Underwood and Timmy Brown. Yeah. And then Mark Harrison and Timmy Wright and Mohamed Sanu comes along, breaks Larry Fitzgerald's record all the way to Brandon Coleman, last year, and Andrew Terzilli for one season.
Yeah, he was great. Yes.
And And I think Leonte's right there with all of them. And every one of them has a little bit of a unique skill set. When you have a guy who has scored as many times as Leonte has, he's certainly deserving to be spoken of at the top of that list with whatever other players are at the top of that list. But I think what he's shown this year is that he's a better player this year than he was last year, which was one of his goals. And he's become a guy who can score from anywhere. One of those touchdowns after the interception, or after the fake punt, I should say, is just a little slip screen he catches on the line of scrimmage, and 55, 60 yards later it's a touchdown. So it's not just catching deep balls, it's making things happen at the line of scrimmage and creating big plays. So he really has become an even better player, a more effective player than he was last year.
Yeah, proven number one wide receiver for sure. I wanted to know, Coach, what do you think his best quality is? Is it his hands? Is it his route running? Is it the way that he can decipher, the defense down the field, what they're trying to, the look that they're giving him? What is his best quality?
I don't know that he has a major weakness. I don't think he could be as productive as he is with it. But when people ask me about him, I always talk first about how strong he is to the football. Mm-hmm. You just always feel like if the ball is near him, he will come down with the football. And he's got a tremendous competitive nature to him, but he's got really strong hands as well. And, if you go back to the Michigan State game, you think about that touchdown he caught in the back of the end zone.
Tremendous.
I mean, that was a bullet.
Yes.
That got thrown back there, and he snatched it right out of the air. And if it's near his hands, he's going to catch it. So I think that's probably his greatest attribute.
When you look at that running back room, we often talk about during the pregame show, David and myself, who's going to be the guy in any given week. You've seen Paul James flash, certainly coming back off the torn ACL, Robert Martin, Josh Hicks. All three of them have gone out there. You've got to be pretty good, and talking to Coach Wilson about it, feel pretty confident about all three of the running backs that are in that room of what they can provide this offense.
Yeah, those three guys have done a tremendous job, and in any game, any one of them can be the guy who takes over the game. What I'm most proud of is how unselfish they are. They coach each other. They cheer for each other. They are happy for the success of the other players. It would be very easy in an offensive skill room. They all want the ball.
Sure.
I mean, listen, I've never met a tailback that didn't want the football.
Yeah, right.
So that's not even every one of them wants the ball. I mean, if we could hand all three of them the ball in the same play, we'd do it just to keep them happy. But what I'm most proud of is how they stay ready. They stay ready for their opportunities. Robert Martin was having a really productive game. He got a few more touches, but he has a couple carries in a series. I want a fresh running back in the game. Paul James is the next guy up. It's 3rd and 1. He rips off a 40-yard touchdown. So they stay ready. They don't worry about how many touches they get, although they want them.
Yeah.
And they cheer for each other. And I'm really excited because now we're going to hit the back half of the schedule here, and I still would think we've got 3 pretty fresh running backs.
Which is important.
And as you just were saying, I was going to actually ask you about that. Looked like Martin had the hot hand, and then 3rd and 1, PJ comes in. And all of a sudden he takes it for a 40-yard touchdown, Coach. Like, what does that say about him just staying ready?
Yeah, it's exactly right. It says that he's staying ready. Nobody is sulking because they're not the guy in the room. They're into the game. They're learning from what's going on when they're not in the game. And when called upon, they're ready. And all three of those guys are dynamic runners. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Justin Goodwin, who's done a phenomenal job for us on 3rd down this year, both in protection and catching the ball out of the backfield. He's helping us win games.
And, Coach, I feel good for James. All of them, obviously, very good players. I feel good for – it's such a long road back from the surgery, the knee surgery that he underwent to get back.
2 years in a row now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to be able to get back and making big-time plays, and that was a huge touchdown run for Paul on last Saturday.
Yeah, I think every week he's starting to be closer and closer to the Paul James we remember from the beginning of last season. And that's
which was a special running back.
There's no question. It's exciting. And all three of those guys catch the ball well out of the backfield. So, they're a fun group to coach. Coach Wilson, he's got a good room to coach.
How hard is it to decide who gets the first carry of the game?
It's easy. Paul starts the game.
Okay.
Yeah, we put PJ in there. He's our captain. He starts the game, and then we start the rotation from there.
Okay.
Coach, there was some debate about where you were going to go quarterback to start the year. There's no doubt now, obviously, Chris Laviano, your starter. Talk a little bit about his game. I thought he showed you, for a guy that's going through a lot of this and all of this really for the first time, I thought he showed a lot of special qualities in that second half against Indiana.
Yeah, Chris played his best game, and we needed him to.
Yeah.
So that was a timely performance by him. I think he's looking at the season stats. He's throwing for close to 70% completions. That's exciting. I said this earlier in the week. He's been getting better every week, and sometimes when you're not watching the practices or you're not watching the coaches' tape, I don't know that everybody sees that all the time, but as a coaching staff, we felt that way, and we feel like he's got a very good command right now of what we want to do, of how we need to set our protections, of how we want to get the checks called within a game, and ultimately delivering the ball, which is the first priority. You've got to be able to deliver the ball to play the position. But he's getting better every week. The opportunity arose last week for him statistically to have a bigger game, and he did.
Right.
So I think that's a great step in the right direction for him, and now he just needs to continue to build on it.
Okay, you talk about also now the wide receivers besides Leonte Carroo, Andre Patton coming on, stepping up. And how about Carlton Agudosi coming in, making big plays for when Leonte got hurt, catching the ball and two people in coverage. That's a huge play for you guys at the end of the game, towards the end.
And I could point to the plays. Andre Patton has a big third down catch in the first half. The next play is a Robert Martin, 27-yard touchdown. I think it was the first touchdown of the game for us. But you never see that touchdown without the third down completion to Andre Patton. Janarian Grant had some third down completions in the game. Carlton Agudosi comes in, big chunk play to get us down by the goal line. We score one or two plays later. Big third down conversion on the last drive to get us into field goal range. So they're all contributing. I've had confidence in them all year. Sometimes they get overshadowed a little bit by Leonte's statistics, and that's going to happen when you have a great player like we do. But all those players have been impactful in us winning games, and they're getting better. And they're another fun group to coach. And they're going to be with us for a little bit, so that's good.
Number to call, 855-FLOOD-44. Hit us up on Twitter, at Rutgers Radio as well. We're live from Quaker Steak and Lube. We focused on the offense. We'll look at the defense. We'll get into the Ohio State game. Big matchup Saturday night in Piscataway, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube, Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar that's open all year round, even in the winter. Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size, dining in or to go. Quaker Steak and Lube, 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
At AT&T, we're all about the perks, like getting $300 credit per line when you switch to AT&T with a smartphone trade-in and purchase of any smartphone on AT&T Next. That's 3 perks in one. Get all the perks when you switch to the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Limited time. Each $300 requires a port-in, eligible purchase, activation, and trade-in. $100 bill credit within 90 days. $200 trade-in credit or promo card. Taxes, fees, restrictions apply. Claim based only on national carriers' average 4G LTE signal strength. See store for details.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
Consider the cup holder. There's probably one feeling empty next to you right now. No Pepsi, no hope. Just look at it, won't you? All across the country, cup holders are being neglected. Instead of Pepsi, they're being filled with loose change or crumpled up receipts. But you can help. Get a Pepsi and refresh a cup holder's life. Our thirsts are counting on it. In fact, I'm having one right now. That is refreshing. Pepsi, refresh yourself. Refill your cup holder.
Hey, Rutgers season ticket holders, are you tired of sitting on those hard bleachers with no back support? Then we have a deal for you. For a limited time, you can reserve a night cushion for only $60 for the season. That's less than $9 a game. Permanently attached to your ticket location, night cushions provide padded comfort for your back and bottom that's second to none. So don't wait. Visit nightcushion.com. That's nightcushion with a K.com. Or call 800-729-0445 to reserve today.
Welcome back inside Quaker Steak and Lube here. It is the Kyle Flood Show. Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand. Rutgers head coach Kyle Flood. Hit us up via telephone 855-FLOOD-44. Twitter at Rutgers Radio. Coach, we do have another call. Let's head to the phone lines. John from Edison, you're up next. Good evening, John. How are you?
How you doing, guys?
John, you're in Edison. How come you're not here? I mean, goodness gracious. It's like a home game for you.
I wasn't able to make it, so next week I'll try to make it out there. After we beat Ohio State, I know it'll be a big crowd, so I'll join next week.
You got it.
All right, my question is, leading up to the game, knowing I know it's the first time these guys are going to have a prime time game on ABC, do you sense there's like a little bit of extra excitement from them during the week, getting ready, knowing it's going to be ABC game, 8 o'clock against the number one team in the country?
I don't think the excitement has anything to do with the channel that we're on. We've played these primetime games before. We played one 2 weeks ago, and I think it's exciting for the player. I think what the players enjoy is that they know when we're playing a primetime evening game, we're going to have the best atmosphere in all of college football.
Right.
And anybody who's been in High Point Solution Stadium
fantastic
for a night game, I mean, they know it is going to be phenomenal. Our student section is going to be rocking. They will be the best 12th man in the country Saturday night. And I think that's what energizes and excites the players. I don't really think it matters to them what channel we're on.
John, thanks a lot for the call. Do you think I get it. I agree with you. But I'm sure for these guys, the fact that it is going to be across the country, it is ABC, individual 18, 19, 20-year-old, you're there. I mean, it does take on a different special quality to it.
I'm sure they're aware of it.
Yeah.
I think they're aware of it.
Do you say anything as a coaching staff?
I don't. I really
No?
don't. But what I've said is, this is life in the Big Ten. This is what we are now, and I think for our university and our fan base, this is going to be something that we're going to become accustomed to seeing. A matchup of excellent football teams in prime time, in the number one media market in the world, and that's a game that stations like ABC are going to want to show.
Game is officially a sellout, which is fantastic. It's going to be a packed atmosphere, and you want fans to get out there early on Saturday, correct?
We want them in. We want them in their seats early. As I said before, when we come out of the tunnel for warm-ups and they're in the stands and they're cheering us on, it's an emotional lift to everybody on our team. And then ultimately, when we come out to start the game, we know it's going to be electric. So, our student section has done a great job all year.
No
I
doubt.
know that they're going to be ready. I know the fans are going to be outside getting ready for the game. But we want you in there early cheering us on. And I promise you, it makes a difference.
How hard is it to try to emulate that type of atmosphere in practice?
Well, when we're home, we got to do it for the defense.
Yeah.
Because third down, when we're on defense, it's going to be really loud in there. And we got to make sure we put the speakers on them, and we'll do that tomorrow and give them an opportunity to work a little bit with some of the crowd noise to make sure that they get all their hand signals or nonverbal communication, however you want to look at it, ready for Saturday night. For the offense, it's usually not an issue.
Coach, we focused a lot about the offense, and certainly impressive performance. Defensively, the fourth quarter against Indiana, very good, to give the offense an opportunity to go out there and have that kind of comeback from 25 down. Where do you think this defense is as a group? Certainly inexperience in the secondary early, but the development of this defense getting ready for the number one team in the land.
They're battling, and that's, I know we can look at a lot of statistics and talk about all of our deficiencies or things we're not doing well, but I'm really proud of how they're competing, how they're battling. There's so many young players that are out there. John Badeke, a true freshman, is playing on third down for us and is doing a nice job. Deontay Roberts, who's been playing for us on special teams. Steve Longa leaves the game. He gets his first action at linebacker on the road in a Big Ten game. And then a couple players in our secondary have to leave the game. And all of a sudden our extremely young secondary got even younger, which I didn't even know that could happen at that point. But I'm pleased with how they're battling. I'm pleased with how they're competing. I'm pleased with how they're learning.
Right.
And that's why I continue to focus on the fourth quarter, because there's no way that you can get 4 stops in the fourth quarter after what happened in the third quarter without continuing to learn through the game. So if we continue to do that, we'll get better as the year goes on. And we may be a little bit young, but we'll continue to get better.
As you said last week, I believe, you only have 10 guys graduating this year or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be less than 10.
So how big is it getting these young guys now in there in these situations when somebody does go down?
It's one of those things you reap the rewards of it at another time.
Yeah.
But right now, we need them to perform like starters, and they're preparing to do that. And now we got a tremendous test ahead of us with the number one team in the country.
855-FLOOD-44, the number to call. Coach, let's head out to Derek from Plainfield. He's up next. What's going on, Derek?
Hello. Coach, this is your favorite letter-winning manager from Plainfield with the interesting hats. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Derek.
I just wanted to give you your props real quick. I was watching with a bunch of guys here in Plainfield watching the game of the Big Ten, and the one thing I have to say, when they replayed your expression when Kyle hit that field goal, it was that is like a keeper. That is what a child looks like at Christmas when he gets the gift he's been wanting to get all year, and the parents don't let him know he's getting it, and then he gets it. It was just like that look of excitement. Then it's like hands in the air. Yes, I did it. This is great. So
I was really happy.
If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. They've got to have it for you there at the Hale Center. It was priceless. It was
I saw it.
unabashed joy.
Derek, thanks a lot for the call. You got it. Certainly, you had to be. I mean, I think, and the smile that Coach Flood had on his face is basically the smile that the entire Rutgers faithful and fan base had on their face at the end of that game, Coach.
Yeah, we had quite a few family members of the players, supporters of the program with us in that stadium. It was great to sing the alma mater in front of them afterwards. That was tremendous. My son was on the sideline with me. I really enjoyed having him there for that. And the best part of a game like that is watching the players.
Yeah.
And I always try to do that. I always try to take a moment and just watch them celebrate because they work so hard all year long. You only guaranteed 12 opportunities, and when you come from behind, that's a special day. That's a day that they're going to have to be able to take with the rest of their lives. And they deserve the opportunity to enjoy it until we get back to New Jersey. Then we got to get back to work. And I think they did a good job of that this week. We've had a good week so far.
As coach, as you and I both know, the real party's in the locker room after the game.
No question.
Like, what was it like in the locker room after the game? E-Fall started it with the chance, and then he kind of passed it along to me. I used to get everyone all amped up after the game. But
we may need to bring you in and pass that chance.
I know.
We need to do that.
You got to pass the torch off now, Coach.
I agree with you.
What's it like in there after?
I've said this to the team before. There is no better place in the world than the locker room after a win. Mm-hmm. And it's what keeps guys like me coaching 22 years now. It's what keeps the players coming back every week. There's nothing like it in the world.
Coach, one of the staples of Rutgers football is tremendous special teams. And you think about, coaches, Virginia Tech and Frank Beamer, obviously tremendous special teams. When you think about Rutgers football, Kyle Flood, there are a lot of things that go along with, running the football and everything. Great special teams. And it showed so far through this year as well, the ability to go out there, generate blocks and everything like that. A tremendous return man in Janari and Grant. What about the special teams and how it plays a role in you as a head coach?
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time on it. And, I got asked the question, might have been last week about, Coach, you guys have blocked the field goal, but you haven't blocked the punt yet. And I said, well, you're right, but if you look at what people average against us and what they average in general, it's usually less.
Right.
And then you watch a long snapper who hadn't snapped one over the punter's head all year. He snaps one over his head all of a sudden. I really believe that people know we're coming. They're working very hard to keep us from blocking punts. But at the same time, it's having an effect. And I think it's had an effect. Now, they had an excellent kickoff guy. Janarian only had, I think, 1 or 2 opportunities in that game to return kicks. He didn't get a lot of at-bats, so to speak. But Janarian's another guy who's already scored 3 times on special teams. And any time he touches the ball, it could be an explosive play.
Yeah, Coach, I actually want to get your opinion and your coaching strategy on how do you coach with kickers. They only get a few opportunities in the game, and then they come in. Sometimes the game is on the line, or sometimes, like you can see in the Michigan State situation, a punter. How do you handle coaching a kicker when they do mess up in those opportunities when they could win a game for the team? Yeah, well,
Kyle had some. Kyle, first of all, let me say it this way. Kyle is somebody I have a lot of confidence in. Mm-hmm. Kyle and I have been together now for 4 years. He was our starting kicker as a true freshman. In the first conference game he ever kicked in on the road at South Florida, I think he hit a 51-yarder in the game after missing one earlier in the game. So I have a tremendous amount of confidence in him. Now, he didn't have his best day. He had a couple of those extra points. The protection wasn't perfect, but the kick was low, and the combination of the two wasn't very good. But at the end of the game, I had no hesitation. Mm-hmm. Because I had a great conversation with him on the sideline. I said, hey, you need to get the ball up a little earlier. I said, other than that, just go out there and do your job. And when you say, how do you handle them as more so than anybody else on the team need to stay in their routine. Yeah. So they all have a routine that they go through. They know when we're in field goal range. They go through their routine, and I think that is critical that you give them enough space that they can get through their routine. He came in, his best kick of the day was when the game was on the line, and it didn't surprise me because, like I said, I've got a lot of confidence in him.
Coach, before we look ahead to Ohio State, it's going to be a tremendous matchup on Saturday night in Piscataway. I'm curious, what kind of year you think Kamoko Touré's had so far?
Kamoko's getting better, and we, just like everybody else, we want Kamoko to be an all-down player.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he was a little dinged up in training camp. He hasn't had the opportunity to practice all the things that we would want him to practice to do that. But he's finding ways to affect the game. He's finding ways to affect the game on third down. He found a way to affect the game in that punt situation where he scoops and scores. So Kamoko's a dynamic athlete, and the more he plays, the better our defense is going to be for it.
Has anybody really stood out to you on that defensive line that some of the fans may not recognize because sometimes it's an unglorified position down there? Is there anybody that really stands out for you?
Well, I think the guy who, and maybe people do see it, I don't know that, but Julian Penix really has filled a void for us because you talk about our defense and how we're trying to overcome certain things. We're also trying to overcome not having Darius Hamilton,
which is a huge loss for that defensive line.
One of the elite defensive linemen in this league. So now we played the entire season other than 12 plays without him. And Julian's gotten better and better as the year goes on. We moved him down in there to play 3 technique, and he's getting better every week. He played an excellent game versus Michigan State. And he played another really good game last week against Indiana. So he's doing a very good job for us. And I'm not sure it always gets noticed, to speak to your question.
855-FLOOD-44 at Rutgers Radio. This is WCTC New Brunswick. We've hit the top of the hour. Half hour left to play with. We'll look ahead to Ohio State. The big matchup, sellout crowd at High Point Solution Stadium, Piscataway, New Jersey, Saturday night. We'll get into the matchups, Coach Meyer, everything that goes along with it. And they have a new starting quarterback as well. This is the Kyle Flood Show.
Thanks to Mountain Dew Kickstart, 3 bros are about to become more than just a bunch of couch bro-tatoes. Hi! The energizing blast of dew and juice is entering their mouths. Soon they'll be sliding across the dance floor as if it was strewn with appeals of bro-nanas. Then this trio of bromios will recite sweet broetry into the ears of any dame that will listen. These guys are bro-fessionals. Let's do this! We're coming, world! It all starts with a kick. Mountain Dew Kickstart with dew, juice, and just the right amount of kick. Now available in 6 flavors that taste good.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube, Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar that's open all year round, even in the winter. Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size, dining in or to go. Quaker Steak and Lube, 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
You know where to tune in for the game, but do you know how to bring the game home to you? When it comes to commemorating the experience, IMGProducts.net has you covered. IMGProducts.net is the place to go for official programs and yearbooks from NCAA championships, conference tournaments, and many of the nation's top universities. Relive games and championships for years to come with quality programs containing stats, behind-the-scenes stories, history, and much, much more. IMGProducts.net. We've got you covered.
Looking for the best trained in the electrical business? Look no further. Our members of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 456, go through a 5-year nationally recognized apprenticeship program along with OSHA safety certifications, producing the best trained and most up-to-date electricians in the area. Fiber optics, high voltage, lighting retrofits, solar energy, healthcare facilities, school construction, data centers. We do it all. We are also proud to be one of the first building trades locals to be recognized with a drug-free workplace program. We at Local Union 456 are like Coach Flood and the Scarlet Knights, trained and proven to get the job done.
All right, welcome back inside Quaker Steak and Lube here in beautiful Edison, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand, and Rutgers head coach Kyle Flood. We have some tweets, some questions from the audience, Coach. Yes, sir. Fire away.
How you doing, gentlemen?
This is my guy, Moose. You don't know. This guy is.
This is the guy?
He claims to have graduated from Rutgers. We're not sure. But
on paper, in my heart, no. But on paper, yes. Well, I apologize ahead of time for the shameless plug. But on the site that I write for onthebanks.com, I wrote this week about how following last year's 25-point comeback, you followed up with a huge win over North Carolina at Quick Lane Bowl. Obviously, this week, a whole new challenge. What's the balance like balancing enjoying that win and enjoying what you did well and focusing on the challenge ahead and what you can do to win this week?
It's one of the challenges, I think, of every football team, the ability to turn the page. You turn the page when you're disappointed, like we were after the Michigan State game. You turn the page, you get ready. You turn the page when you have something great happen, like we did last week. But football teams that are able to consistently get better as the season goes on, you can only do that if you make the corrections, own the mistakes, and then put your eyes forward, because it's a new week against a different football team.
Awesome. Well, good luck. Obviously, I'll be there, loud, proud, and early. So good luck.
Sneaking back into the student section or what?
Maybe I'll pay a quick visit, but I got my own seats now.
All right.
I'm a grown-up now. I got my grown-up seats.
I love that. I love that.
You can hit us up via Twitter as well, at Rutgers Radio. Coach, we have a tweet from Chris Nowalski. Here we go. What kind of problem is it to prepare for dynamic athletes like J.T. Barrett and Braxton Miller? Does it cause any concerns?
Well, I think, that when you're game planning for players like that, you're talking about two of the better players in the country.
Sure.
Those guys are spectacular players, and what you got to do is you got to minimize the opportunities that they have one-on-one in space. If you give them enough opportunities one-on-one in space, it's going to be hard to contain them. The teams that have success, and when I say success, it's all relative, because you're talking about a team that's won 20 straight games, 27 straight in the conference regular season in the Big Ten.
Very impressive.
But you got to get a lot of people to the ball, and when they make somebody miss or they break a tackle, someone else has got to be there to secure the tackle. And you really got to execute your defense, you got to execute your scheme, and you got to swarm to the football, because they're spectacular players. They're going to make plays.
I was actually going to say, they are. You want to get one-on-one situations. That's what Urban Meyer wants to get them in. How important is it going to be sometimes if you got one guy out there to get them on the ground? Because they can make explosive plays, and they can hit the head on the goal post on any one of them.
Yeah, I've heard Coach Myers speak before, and that's what they want. They want those one-on-ones, and you got to make sure everybody else is running to the ball, and you got to use the tackling system. Yeah, you got to make sure you use the tackling system and use it effectively.
Coach, we have another question for you here.
How are you doing, Coach? Mark, Eric, much appreciated to see you all again. We're looking forward to Saturday. Ride Squad, we're looking forward to you guys. This definitely is going to be one of the most anticipated games heading to Saturday, up there with the 06 Louisville and 2007 USF game for sure. One of the biggest things that we look forward to seeing as fans is the uniforms. Do you have anything special planned for Saturday? Traditional red, black, maybe white?
Well, we are going to be wearing scarlet.
Okay.
But we might have a little twist on it when we come out of the tunnel. So as we come out for warm-ups, I think you'll see it may have a little different twist on
something to look out for.
On a normal scarlet uniform. Exactly. Now, let me also give these guys a plug, because the Riot Squad, they are phenomenal at what they do. And they do a great job of helping us fill that student section. And they are really the catalyst for everything that happens in that student section. So we appreciate what you guys do.
No problem. We're looking forward to Saturday, Coach. Thank you very much.
We'll see you in a couple days.
Nice.
It is important, obviously, the crowd, no question, and what kind of impact they can have on the game to give really a true home field advantage.
Yeah, and you're talking about an offense in Ohio State that's a no-huddle offense. And when that crowd gets loud and rowdy, the communication process for them on offense gets a lot more difficult. We've seen that happen over the years. We know that our crowd can have an effect on the game, and I have no doubt in my mind that they will be ready to go on Saturday night.
Yeah, Coach, I actually saw a tweet, I believe it was somebody in the Riot Squad. It was like Ohio State uses the clap count. They clap before they snap.
Yep.
And I believe somebody said, how about 52,000 fans clapping? Would that draw them off a little bit on offense? So it was cool to see that. I think that probably would mess their offense up a little bit.
Might be interesting to see.
Yeah, no question. Coach, another question here from the audience.
How you doing, Coach?
Doing good.
Chad, North Brunswick. I got a question about defensively. Last year in the game, the defense got caught trying to sub when they went to no-huddle offense, and a couple of times they scored because you guys are out of position. How are we going to handle that this year, this game?
Yeah, it's something we've already had some practice at. Indiana is a team that tries to play at a really, really high tempo. Washington State at times will play at a high tempo. Kansas, we've played a couple of these teams already this year, so it's a challenge. They like to play really fast. It's called, from an offensive perspective, it's called trapping the personnel. You try to trap the personnel on the field if you can. But I think we've prepared well for it. We do certain things in practice to try to imitate that, and I like the way we've handled it so far, so I think we're going to be okay Saturday night.
Do you have 11 guys on defense that you can stay in the base package when they do go to the no huddle? Do you have guys you can just stay in and
Well,
Playing
now
for-
you sound like a spy for Urban Meyer. I know you got a Rutgers hat on, but I'm starting to get concerned. But no, when they stay in their personnel, more often than not, you need to stay in your personnel.
Okay.
Whatever personnel you have on the field.
Right.
When they sub personnel, the officials are going to stand on the ball. They're going to give the defense an opportunity to sub. So, yeah, I think you have to match with what they do.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Coach,
Thank
we
you.
have another question via Twitter. Marie, at RUGrad75. Can't wait for OSU. Can you please continue to encourage scout team to go nuts? The crowd went crazy with them during MSU, which we just talked about.
Okay, I think she's probably referring to the red shirts that are in the sweatsuits, maybe?
I guess,
I think
maybe.
the non-travel guys.
I'm guessing. Yeah, they
guess
get
so.
hyped on the sideline.
Yeah, well, no, we want them working the crowd. That's for sure. Yeah, they'll be out there.
Another one. Haven't heard much about Coach Friedgen lately. How is he, and is he still actively consulting?
Oh, Coach Friedgen's doing great. He's been a tremendous help to us. I had a great conversation with him last night. We talk via text all the time, but I had a great conversation with him last night, and he's somebody who is having a very positive effect on our program, and somebody that I really admire as a football coach, somebody that is a great resource for me as a head coach because he did the job for over 10 years. A tremendous resource for the offensive staff because he's as good as it gets in all of college football when you talk about offensive coordinators. So Coach Friedgen has absolutely helped us every week this year, and it's been a positive for our program.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, do you find it easier to when you play a spread offense and then having to go right back to playing kind of a spread offense, or how you get right back into a regular pro-style offense? Is it easier to prepare when you go week to week in a spread offense, or is it harder when you got to go spread offense, then you got your pro-style offense, then back to a spread offense here and there?
I think a couple of years ago it probably would have made more of a difference. Mm-hmm. I don't know that it makes as much of a difference anymore, because there are so many spread offenses.
Yeah.
It seems like almost every week you're preparing for them, and then
the
when you're
norm now.
preparing for Michigan State, then we do a little bit more good on good because the way we line up is very similar to how they line up. So I don't know that it's as much of a difference as maybe it used to be 5-6 years ago.
Coach, we have another question for you here.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win on Saturday.
Thank you.
I was watching the game on TV, and I noticed that the stands started to empty. It was 52-27 and looking pretty good for Indiana. I wanted to know if in the fourth quarter, if that helped the offense at all, run a little better, maybe the lack of crowd noise.
It was not a game. I thought they had a good atmosphere out there, but it was not a game that we used any silent cadence in the entire game. So I don't really think that was a factor. I didn't notice that. That's a shame for them, maybe. I don't know. But no, I don't think that. I really don't think that was a factor because it wasn't a game where the crowd was loud enough that we needed a silent count.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach, Coach Meyer made it official yesterday. What everyone thought coming out of their game this past weekend was that Barrett was going to be the starting quarterback once again over Jones. How does that affect what you guys want to do defensively, the challenges Barrett represent as compared to Cardell Jones?
They're both really, really fine football players. And I wouldn't rule it out that we would still see both of them, although I know JT is going to start. We were preparing for both anyway because JT had been playing and playing significantly. They do a little bit more quarterback run with JT, but they still do quarterback run when Cardell's in there. They throw it a little bit more when Cardell's in there, but they still throw it when JT's in there. I think it's just a matter of being a little bit more conscious of the quarterback runs with JT Barrett because he's so dynamic as a football player.
Yeah, can you actually talk about now with some people may not know, some of the fans, on how important that D-line pass rush is going to be having to stay in their lanes now when you have a guy like a JT Barrett who can take off a lot quicker than Cardell Jones.
Yeah, there's no question. And although, I know what you mean, but Cardell's a big dude. And
he is.
When he gets going, it's,
once he gets going,
not easy to get on the ground either. But you're right. Staying in your lanes, in zone coverage, making sure you got eyes on the quarterback, so when he takes off, you can do that. Having somebody to account for him in man coverage.
Yep.
I think all those things are critical to try to minimize some of those explosive plays that happen when the play call that was made breaks down.
Mm-hmm. What impresses you when you take a look at Ohio State on film, Coach? What impresses you the most?
The first thing I look at is what they do up front, and they're very good up front. 4 of their 5 offensive linemen have over 20 career starts. So I mean that's a very seasoned group up front, and they do an excellent job of not just run blocking but keeping the pocket clean in pass protection. And I think that's really where it starts for them. And then after that, they do a very nice job of getting the ball to their playmakers in space. And whether that's the quarterback on a quarterback run or handing the ball to Ezekiel Elliott or handing the ball on a speed sweep to somebody like Braxton Miller, then they have a wildcat package for Braxton Miller. So that's another part of it that you have to be ready to defend as well.
Where we are at Quaker Steak and Lube here in Edison, New Jersey. Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand, Rutgers head coach Kyle Flood will come back, continue to look at Ohio State as we look ahead to the big sellout crowd matchup in Piscataway, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube, Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar that's open all year round, even in the winter. Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size, dining in or to go. Quaker Steak and Lube, 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
Hey, Chris Carlin here, and as the voice of your Rutgers Scarlet Knights, I see the fans' passion for our hometown team come to life every Saturday in the fall. UPS shares this same passion for helping businesses turn a challenge into a solution, because they're not just in the shipping business, they're in the problem-solving business. Visit ups.com/solvers to see how UPS can help your team find the winning formula. UPS, official logistics company of Rutgers Athletics.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
This commercial is brought to you by Brother International, the makers of fax, printers, multifunction printers, scanners, sewing, and embroidery machines. Brother is always at your side.
You can make business cards with your name, print from hiking, hang and frame, sew some shades, block the sun, keep out creepy peeping toms. With Brother at your side, always good times. You got a brother at your side, and whatever follows always ends up in good times. You can make a basket cover for your cat, another for his brother, so they both match. No more mess, make the best label, all relieve that stress. Brother's always undercover and always around. 106 years, better keep on counting. You got a brother at your side, and whatever follows always ends up in good time. With the brother at your side, with the brother at your side.
Welcome back inside Quaker Steak and Lube here in Edison, New Jersey. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Hit us up via Twitter at Rutgers Radio. Number to call 855-FLOOD-44. Mark Malusis, Eric LeGrand, and Rutgers head coach Kyle Flood. And coach, how's the team handled emotional victory, tremendous come from behind victory as we went through earlier on in the show on Saturday out in Bloomington, Indiana. How has the team bounced forward this week out of practice?
I think they've done an excellent job, and we've really strung together quite a few weeks in a row here of good practices, and that's exciting because the teams at the end of the year that are playing at a high level, you got a chance to do special things. So I'm excited about how we've practiced so far this week. We got to run through tomorrow, then we'll come out and practice again on Friday. But we've had a good week, so that's where it has to start. You got to, whatever you do on Saturday, you got to earn it during the week.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to get your opinion on this. Coach Wilson said that he likes 12 o'clock games because then you get to see your score if you win the game all day long for other teams to see. I know it's primetime games; those are the best atmospheres to be in. But do you have a preference on the 8 o'clock, or 3:30, or 12 o'clock game?
I enjoy the primetime games.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I enjoy them so much is I know exactly what the atmosphere is going to be.
Yeah.
And I think for the players, again, I refer back to something I said before. In a sport where you have 12 game days guaranteed a year, I know exactly what it's going to be like Saturday night, and I'd like all 12 of them to be like that at home and on the road. I love it.
What's schedule? We're sitting here on a Wednesday night. Schedule rest of the week to get your team. And we talked about it earlier on the show. ABC Saturday Night Affair. It's obviously part of this conference. It comes along with the territory, taking on the number one team in the land. Do you do anything a little bit different this week at all?
No. We have a routine, an itinerary for all the start times, 12 noon, 3:30, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., whatever it is, we have a routine for it. For us this week, we're a morning practice team during the week, so all of our work happens before 12 noon, and then after 12 noon, they become students, go back on campus. But we'll come in Friday, we'll have our meetings, we'll have a light practice on Friday, we'll go to the team hotel, we'll get up Saturday morning, we'll have breakfast, we'll have some meetings, we will then come over to the bubble, we'll have a little run through, head back, the players get a little bit of free time to just kind of gather themselves. And then it's pregame meal, and you're into the entire pregame routine. So, like anything else, I think if there's a routine in place, the players know what to expect, and then they know how to prepare, and you just back up from the kickoff time, and you go from there.
What is your pregame routine, Coach, like on a night game? Like, do you try to get a nap in during the day, or are you usually just up all day working on stuff?
I don't, and we actually met with a sports performance guy a couple of years ago who said you really shouldn't nap. If you're gonna close your eyes, you shouldn't do it for more than 25, 30 minutes. You want to avoid REM sleep on game day because it kind of takes your body down. Then you have to recharge the entire thing. So, we let them get off their feet. We want them to relax, but we let them sleep in, and we wake them up a little bit later so that they're ready to go. For me, my routine is pretty consistent. 90 minutes before the team breakfast, I run, and then I just go through the day with the team.
Okay.
Coach, we talked about certainly when we look at Jones and Barrett. How about when you look at their talented running back Ezekiel Elliott? What does he flash on film?
Yeah, special player. Ezekiel's a special player. You see him do all the things that a top-level running back does, and then he is a little reminiscent of a guy that people know here in Brian Leonard, in that in almost every game he seems to hurdle somebody.
Right.
So he's an explosive athlete. They're gonna make sure that he gets his touches. He's somebody right now. As I look at the statistics, he's averaging 6.7 yards a carry. So 141 yards a game. He's a dynamic football player, and they do an excellent job of spreading the field and making sure that they're giving him an opportunity to create some plays in space.
And as when you get opportunities like that, it's hard to stack the box against the run, because then you got to worry about the outside positions. Is there anybody else that really sticks out to you besides the ones that we know, the Cardell Jones, J.T. Barrett, Braxton Miller, and of course Ezekiel Elliott? Is there anybody else though that sticks out to you on their team?
Yeah, I think a little bit similar to our running back situation. There's only so many touches in a game, but they've got a guy in Curtis Samuel who we're very familiar with, who's a really, really dynamic football player. And I think somebody else, you'll see him run some speed sweeps. He'll come into the backfield from time to time. I'm sure he'll be a part of that Wildcat package with Braxton Miller at quarterback. He's another good one. But you got J.T. Barrett, you got Ezekiel Elliott, you got the receivers. They've got a nice core group of receivers. Braxton Miller certainly playing that position as well, and a guy like Curtis Samuel. So they've got a lot of talent to spread the field with. It's going to be important we get a lot of people to the ball.
855-FLOOD-44 at Rutgers Radio. Come back. We'll wrap it up here. It is the Kyle Flood Show.
At AT&T, we're all about the perks, like getting $300 credit per line when you switch to AT&T with a smartphone trade-in and purchase of any smartphone on AT&T Next. That's 3 perks in one. Get all the perks when you switch to the network with the nation's strongest 4G LTE signal. AT&T, mobilizing your world.
Limited time. Each $300 requires a port-in, eligible purchase, activation, and trade-in. $100 bill credit within 90 days. $200 trade-in credit or promo card. Taxes, fees, restrictions apply. Claim based only on national carriers' average 4G LTE signal strength. See store for details.
Need a place to watch all the pro games? Look no further than Quaker Steak and Lube. Best Wings USA on Route 1 in Edison. 50 TVs, great game day specials starting at just $2, and the best wings in the USA with over 25 different wing sauces. Enjoy our outdoor patio and bar that's open all year round, even in the winter. Give us a call, 732-777-WING. We cater events of any size, dining in or to go. Quaker Steak and Lube, 561 Route 1 in Edison, 732-777-WING.
This is the Rutgers IMG Sports Network.
Hey, Rutgers season ticket holders, are you tired of sitting on those hard bleachers with no back support? Then we have a deal for you. For a limited time, you can reserve a night cushion for only $60 for the season. That's less than $9 a game. Permanently attached to your ticket location, night cushions provide padded comfort for your back and bottom that's second to none. So don't wait. Visit nightcushion.com. That's nightcushion with a K.com. Or call 800-729-0445 to reserve today.
Honey, did you take care of the party rentals yet?
I drove by Miller's Rentals on Route 1, but it looks like they've closed. We'll have to go someplace else.
No, according to Facebook, Miller's moved to a bigger space at 160 Fieldcrest Avenue in Edison, but their phone number hasn't changed. 732-985-3050.
Great, I'll call now.
Miller's Party Rentals, tents, tables, chairs, linen, staging, and more. Now at 160 Fieldcrest Avenue in Edison. 732-985-3050. Visit MillerRentals.com. Like us on Facebook and receive a discount on your first order. Go Millers!
All right, welcome back. This is the Kyle Flood Show. Quaker Steak and Lube here in Edison, New Jersey. Coach, we have a question from our studio audience. What's going on?
Wait, what?
No, you're up. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay.
Yeah.
So, how are your young quarterbacks looking so far this season?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think Chris has done an excellent job. A guy.
No, the corner.
Oh, the corners. Oh.
The cornerbacks.
I thought you said quarterback too.
Yeah, our young corners got even younger. But I'll tell you what was exciting to see. It was exciting to see a guy like Isaiah Wharton in the last game come up with a big interception. And they're battling. Jarius Adams is going to get a lot of playing time for us. Plus, Austin's getting better every week, and we're going to ultimately reap the rewards of all this experience they're getting right now. But what's important right now is that they continue to compete and get better every day, and I think they're doing that.
Yep.
Coach, let's head to Fred and Mendham.
I'm going to tell him you're thinking about him, Ray.
What's going on, Fred?
Hi.
How you doing, Fred?
Coach, I have a question. All right, I'm doing good.
Go ahead,
On
Fred.
the air?
Yes.
Okay, my question has to do with the last sequence leading up to the field goals. Where we got inside the red zone. The first play, you had Chris spike the ball, and you had a couple of timeouts left, and in view of what happened in the game before that, I was just curious what your thought process was in having him do that.
Yeah, I believe we had one timeout left, and we wanted to save that timeout for the field goal. And the reason you try to do that when you can is because if you're dealing with a situation where the clock is running and there's an offensive penalty, there's a 10-second runoff in college football, and you're trying to do everything you can to avoid that. And if you have a timeout, then you really never have to worry. You
can take the timeout instead of the penalty.
Correct. And,
Right.
and I think the other, or if you can take the timeout beforehand, and if the clock is stopped when the penalty happens, there's no issue.
Right.
And I think the other factor at that point was, at that time in the game, we didn't feel like we were going to use all 4 downs anyway. So it gave us an opportunity to spike it there and then really just do everything we wanted to do to set up for the field goal.
Thanks a lot for the question, Fred, and the phone call. Coach, keys Saturday night when you look at your team, number 1 team in the country coming into your building. What do you look forward, looking toward keys offensively and defensively?
Yeah, I mean, I know what the keys are to winning football games for us at Rutgers, and I think that's what we control. So we have to control what we control, and we got to do a great job on special teams to have an excellent drive start. I think the second thing we do is be very good in the turnover margin, and then we got to find ways to create explosive plays and minimize it. When we do those 3 things, we're going to have a great opportunity to be 1-0.
Coach, tremendous. Studio audience here at Quaker
Thank
Steak
you,
and Lube,
everybody, for coming out.
Coach, good luck Saturday night.
I appreciate that, Mark.
You got it,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Good luck,
E,
Coach.
Thank you.
For Coach Kyle Flood, Eric LeGrand. We'll see you all out there at Piscataway High Point Solutions Stadium Saturday night as the Scarlet Knights entertain the Ohio State Buckeyes. Thanks to everyone here at Quaker Steak and Lube, everyone that came out as well. Have yourself a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you out next Saturday. This coming up Saturday night as the Scarlet Knights take on the Buckeyes of Ohio State. Have a great night, everyone.
All right, be early and be loud.
Yep.